Hello everybody, my name is Jerry Shields, and today what I want to do is do a playthrough of my course Storm King Golf Resort. Storm King was my first ever original golf course, and I wanted kind of this exclusive country club feel. Just take a look here, come down the driveway into the golf resort, and there's a beautiful driving range out here that is sitting next to a putting green with a practice chipping bunker on both sides. And then what we do is we come in towards the resort itself, and you can see that a turnaround area for vehicles to come in and drop off clubs, and then we go past the clubhouse and into the front yard here, and you can see that number 9 sits just left of the clubhouse when you're looking towards the water, and number 18 is on the other side, and that is how you come into the golf course. So Storm King was not inspired by anything specifically except to have something that had kind of that exclusive country club feeling, where it would be a private golf club, members only. But what I wanted to do was design something that had a lot of strategy in it, and this course is kind of like a riddle. You have to play it multiple times to figure out what exactly you need to do to perfect this golf course. And of course, myself being a golf course superintendent in the real world, I did put a maintenance facility in here with the buildings and equipment there, and even cart paths that go out from the maintenance building onto the rest of the golf course. The superintendent in this fictional world actually has his own place to live right here, and he's got himself a little boat for fishing, and is overlooking the first hole on the golf course. So let's get right to it. We will play this. I'll talk through each hole and explain some of the strategy, and we'll see what you think. For tees, there are 3 sets of tees: the gold, which are the front, the white, and the black, which are the toughest tees. I'm going to play it from the white. I'm not a great golfer in 2K21, so that's my sweet zone, is the middle decks. Pin set 1, 2, 3, 4. All are equal. Let's go for 4 today. We're going to throw some wind on this. Let's give it some high wind speeds, which in the game isn't really terribly high. It might be 10 to 15 miles per hour. And wind direction doesn't really matter. Let's give us a south wind today. And I think that's all we need to get it set up and get ourselves rolling here. So let's play the course. So first off, we are coming into the first hole. And here we are set up on the first hole. So here we have a pond on the on the right side that isn't really in play, and there is a bunker in play on the left side. You can see we play up to an elevated green that drops off in the back. This is our landing zone for a driver, fairly wide. We do have a pin placement today. We can see up at the green there on the right side, just behind that bunker. So if we were to play right side of this fairway, we'd be playing over that bunker. The more we can play to the left side, the more we can take the bunker out of play. So the goal here is going to be to play it here on the left side. We are about a bit of a mound that rolls away, so I think if we get lucky here, if we can land this just right with the wind behind us, we may actually roll up here and get closer to 300 yards and have a really good angle into his pin. So let's give that shot a try. There, we got the kick off the mound, and we rolled a little bit uphill. Typically on holes that I create, the starting hole is kind of a warm-up hole to get you going. It doesn't have a lot of challenge, but it is usually enough to get the driver out and let things happen. This is the first green. You can see it's elevated up on top of a hill. It drops off to, and behind there we can actually see the second hole there across the pond. And we can even see the superintendent's house way off in the distance there across the pond. So this green does play a little bit right to left. There is a spillway at the back left side of this hole, and of course we have that bunker in the front. So this pin is tucked in fairly tight. What do we got here? We're looking at 9 iron. We got a wind behind us, and I think that I'm going to. It's a small green, so I think I'm just going to try to get it up on the green here. The wind's behind me, and let it kind of run to the back of the green. I don't think I have a shot at the pin, but I will have hopefully an uphill putt. I'm sloping right to left, so I need to adjust a little bit farther right again. And we'll see what that brings us. So we're short. So the wind did not give us the push that we needed to get up there. And now instead we are looking at a little bit of a finesse shot to get us close to get our par still. The wind behind it, but I don't think it's going to affect us that much. I'm going to throw a little splash shot up here in the direction of the pin. Left to right lie, so I need to compensate a little bit for that. See if we can get this close enough that we can one putt this in. Not bad, 5 feet away. The green here is a little bit left to right. We should be able to salvage a par. And there's a par for us on the first hole. Second hole. I have had friends of mine play this hole and say this is the most devilish hole on the golf course. It really wasn't designed that way. But it is a little tricky. You can see we've got this cloverleaf green. The front, obviously, water is in play. Back right, you have to squeeze between two bunkers, and left today where the pin is, we have a bunker front and back with a spillway off to the left side. So there's some thought here. The green is a little tricky. You can see it slopes down towards the center, and to get up on this little plateau where the pin today is really a challenge. The water shouldn't really be in play as long as we have the right club. Wind is left to right, so I think today the target would be way left of the green. Let the wind push this over, and hopefully we get a little bit on this green. If we don't hit the green, at least here the strategy is we end up back at the spillway. We should be able to avoid the bunkers and still have a shot in. So I'm going to give this an 8-iron right up into this edge of the green. Well, looks like we went farther than we needed to, and now we are in the bunker. So we're going to play a little splash shot up here. I'm not sure I'm going to go with the splash. I think I'm going to go with the chip shot instead and just toss it up here and let it roll towards the pin. I might need an extra club to get out of the bunker here. Again, we're scrambling again, but we have, if you get on the right plateau with this green, the different plateaus are relatively flat, so not a bad putt here. And we'll roll that in again for the par. So hole number 3 is a par 5. You play all the way down this hill. You can see we're going down 60 feet to the landing zone. And then farther up there we have a fairway that doglegs to the right with a green up top there. So reaching this is really, really tough in 2. We do have the wind behind us, so we may have a shot, but even then it's going to be tough. There's 2 pieces of this fairway, if you notice. There's the left that has the bunker guarding it, and the right side. The advantage of the left side is if you can get to, there's a little bit of a spine running through this fairway here that if you can catch the left side just past the bunker, you may get a pretty good roll and a nice angle in on that dogleg. If you're right side, it is a little more downhill, and you're likely to go a little bit farther. But if you get tucked in beside the trees there on the right side, you will have a tough time getting around the dogleg without shaping the hole. So the shot here is left. I am going to throw it up here and hope we get past this bunker with the wind behind us and roll up fairly close to that water. Yes, with the wind behind us, that's a really good shot in there at 354 yards. You can see that we still have 298 yards uphill 80 feet to the green, so we're not going to reach this. The big thing to watch for is this fairway has a very pronounced drop off on the left side that goes to a bunker and then off to the rough in the water. So you don't want to bounce along the edge of this drop off because it will kick your ball left and you'll likely be in that bunker in this situation, or worse yet, if you were farther back on that landing spot zone, you would be heading towards the water. So wind's behind us. We want to be ideally just rolling it up here along this little bit of a plateau. Since we had such a good drive, we're not as much at risk for being down in the left. But I am going to favor the right side. I know I can't make the green, but I don't want to be left. That's the one caveat here for me. Oh, there we go. So we did stay up on the plateau on the right side, and we're well positioned in here for our third shot. A little bit of rough behind the green. Other than that, we've got a bunker protecting front left, and the green does have a bit of a plateau there. You can see up on the left side behind that bunker, and then it's relatively flat for the rest of the green. So the secret here will be club selection. Wind behind us again, so I'm going to take one less club with the gap wedge here, and I'm really just going to roll it up on there and let it trickle in towards the green. We are up 21 feet, but I'm hoping the wind compensates for it. And there we go. I like a well-crafted shot. So 7 feet for my birdie. So we'll take that. -1 after 3 holes, and we scrambled on the first 2 just to get a par. So now we have the 4th hole. This is a reachable 4. We go up to a driver here. This is where a driver would end up. We've got wind behind us, and be very careful here. We do have water and a monstrous bunker that drops off really fast behind this green, so it is a tricky sand shot if you are long, but this is why we have the risk-reward factor at a par 4. You can just lay it up and then have a nice little short shot up onto the green, or you can go for it and possibly be putting for an eagle. So that is the decision that needs to be made. I'm going to go with my 3-wood here, and I'm going to, wind is a little right to left and a little bit behind me, and I am just going to aim for this rough up here and see if I can get lucky. I don't want to be in any of those bunkers, but the bunkers aren't extremely punishing. Even if I end up on the rough on the left side of this green, it's not the end of the world and gives me a nice angle in. So I'm going to kind of shoot for up in here with 3-wood and see what that gives us. That's a real bendy shot. Trickle down. Okay, so there we are, just in front. Didn't go for the green necessarily, but it is a tricky shot. We do have a deer sitting on that little peninsula behind the green. I just have to find the right shot here. There's a splash shot with a lob wedge. Let's throw a splash shot up with the gap wedge. Don't want to go too far. You can see this green has a tier, a top tier on the left and on the right, and a low spot in the middle. And you don't want to be either side of that because it is quite a drop. I think it's almost a foot down each part of the green here. So I'm going to lay this up. I know I've got a wind right to left. If I end up landing up on that slope, it's not the end of the world. It'll trickle back down to the center. So I'm just hoping we have enough club here. And the trickle to the left. Oh, I could have put a little farther left. So now we are putting for birdie, since this was a short par 4. And the only way you're not putting for a birdie or maybe eagle in this hole is if you do go for it and you end up in a bad spot. So that was the 4th hole, our reachable par 4. Number 5 is another par 3. If you've noticed, there's been a lot of par 5s and 3s already. That is because Storm King has 6 par 3s, 6 par 4s, and 6 par 5s. It's kind of a signature of courses I design. I think it's the par 3s and par 5s are often the most interesting part of a golf course, so I only wanted to have 6 par 4s. And when I do have a par 4, they're meant to be challenging. So the 5th hole has rough and higher elevation behind it. We do have a pond that really is not in play on the left side at all. It would be a bad day if you were in that water. But we do have a tricky green. It's a bit of a kidney shape with the higher side on the right, and it drops off to the left. The pin today is right, almost front, and we have a wind that's blowing a little bit in our face. So I'm likely going to give this an extra club. That would be a 5-wood though. 4-iron, knocking it into the wind. I really do think I need a 5-wood. I really don't want to be up on that peninsula. I could end up on the far left side of the green with a very long putt, but I also don't want to be short and end up in the bunker in front. So I'm kind of in between clubs here. I'm going to go with a 5-wood. I'm going to aim it up into the rough, hoping the wind pushes it back. And I may even see if I can shape this shot a little bit. And 5-woods really are not conducive to this type of a shot, but we are aiming way right, as you can see, up towards that big tree. I'm really hoping for something to draw into there. Yeah, so we had too much club. Exactly what I was afraid of. We caught that slope, we rolled back left. The other option would have been flirting with the bunker up front. So instead we're going to be faced with a 65-foot putt. Wow. Let's see here. 65 feet on the putter. That's quite the putt we've got coming up the hill here. I am just a lag putt. We're just hoping to get it close. up a steep slope, comes up, should bend a little bit to the left, a little bit of another slope again, and we'll take a leg putt from 65 feet to get it within 4 for our par every time. Still -1 after 5 holes. So hole number 6 is relatively interesting. We're playing downhill and to a fairway that is broken by this stream that runs through the center. And behind that we have a big tree in the way. Now the question that's been asked when we play this hole is that reachable? You're down 50 feet, your driver would catch right about there. If you had the wind behind you, I think that we had a shot at making it, but unfortunately it's not going to play that way with the wind a little bit in our face and right to left, so it's not worth the risk reward. Instead, I think the best shot is laying it up here, likely more with a 3-wood. I do have the wind in my face. I think I'm going to risk the driver. I'm going to push it a little bit to the right side here, and my goal is to end up out somewhere in here. And this green will not be reachable. The green is up on top of a hill there, and I just don't think that we have enough in the bag to get all the way to the green, but we can at least get ourselves close to that green if we lay it up here. Wow, we really got a real draw today. So kick that down, and that's pretty well where we wanted to end up. So we are now looking at 263 the pin. We've got a 3-wood in our hands, and we have a wind right to left. Really, lots of space to land the ball up here. Luckily, pin is front center. This green does have a very sharp drop off and spillway behind it, and I mean very sharp. I think it's a 15-foot drop at least there behind the green, so we don't want to be long. We don't also want to be in between clubs, but I think this will get us within 40 yards, and we have some options at 40 yards with the new splash shot that 2K21 has given us in our bag. So we're just going to throw a ball up here. And we have ourselves 32 feet in. We can either pitch this up or we could splash this up. Let's just see what a splash shot looks like with a higher club. Yeah, let's go splash shot, pitching wedge. Wind is right to left. Green is also going right to left. And you can see a little bit behind the green here. I was talking about, there's the drop off behind this green. So you do not want to be long because getting back can be a real tricky shot. So you want to keep this shorter. And with our splash shot, we're going to lay it up here. Hopefully it trickles a little bit left. The wind's going to push us left, so I think here's the sweet spot. We don't want to be long, but I really don't think we have a risk of being long. The splash shot that's got a little bit of arc on it. It's a little bit of a tricky left to right for our birdie, but we just have to put it out here and let it trickle down. We didn't go far enough left with it. So we're paced with still a 7-footer, but not much of a slope coming back at it this way. And we do come out of this hole with a par. So that could be reachable in 2 shots, but you need to have the wind in the right direction. Today it wasn't in our favor. The 7th hole is a very long par 4. We are looking at almost a 500-yard par 4. And the challenge with this 500-yard par 4 is you can see the sweet spot for where our driver is going to end up. So if you are not exactly accurate with the driver shot, you're going to be into this bunker or into this bunker, and you're still going to have 225 yards left playing out of the sand, which means you're probably not making the green. So smart decisions need to be made on this hole. You can't afford to leg up too much, because when you go back to 227 yards, you're now looking at a 275 shot, even if it's downhill, really challenging to hit the green. So you either need to lay a 3-wood in here with a lot on it, or you need to throw a driver in here and maybe take a little bit off it. I think that's going to be our plan, is throw a driver up here, and hopefully the wind knocks it down. And the idea is we're going to settle in right here and give ourselves still a chance at this green in 2. It's a very challenging par 4, I'd argue probably one of the toughest holes on the golf course. Okay, that's about all we could expect here. So we now see that we have a green that has 3 tiers on it, rising in elevation to the back to the highest tier. And our pin today is on the back part of this green, making this even a longer and more challenging hole. I am going to fillet the 3-wood out there. It's down 23 feet, so I'm going to get a bit of a run. I've got wind against my face, So I've got a little bit working against me. I'm not anticipating getting on that back tier. My goal here is to be on the green. And that might not be the case. And we found the bunker. If that would have been a straight shot, we likely would have hit the green, rolled up maybe onto that second tier. Instead, now we're dealing with this splash shot. Real tough choice here. I've got wind in my face. I'm coming out of the bunker. I think I'm going to roll with this splash shot, and I'm going to tweak it a little bit, give it a little more arc, a little more backspin, and see if this works in my favor. Oh, I hit the pin. And here we have a putt now for our par. So even though it's a very long par 4, a little bit of strategy and thought can help salvage a par. You're likely never playing for birdie there unless you get 2 really miraculous shots. 8th hole, another par 3. This time we have a green that slopes left to right with a higher tier and a lower tier. We have a wall in front that protects us from water. So you don't want to be short. There's no room to be short. If you're long, there is a spillway that goes behind the green. And there is this tree, this monstrous oak tree that hangs over the green. So you may consider that to be a bit of an obstacle for pins on the left side like this. I guess if I'm heading this way and it's coming for the tree, even if it hits a branch and drops down on the green, I'm not too bad. I don't want to hit some heavy wood like that trunk and end up in the water, but I think that's the play here. I am going to, I'm in between clubs again. You can see pitching wedge is going to put me on the edge of that wall. I got a tiny bit of a wind behind me. I think pitching wedge, I'm going to risk it. Pitching wedge is going to be not enough club. I'm a bit downhill. The wind is a little tiny bit behind my back. But I think that if I put it out here and let the wind bring it right, I may not end up in the proper tier, but we'll see what happens. This could be a wet shot if things don't go my way. Looks good. Kick. We just didn't get the right kick, but we can see here we're pin high. And then we have a little awkward little chip shot. And I'm gonna have to take something off this for sure. And we have a little bit of a funny stance. We're higher than the ball, so we aim a little bit farther left here. And well, we almost put that in for a birdie. And we have a short little 3-footer for our par. So again, another hole requires a little bit of strategy. 9th hole has this monstrous chameleon-like bunker in the middle of it, and we can see there's the green in the distance. This is a par 5. There are several options. First option, you play short of the bunker. You're going to be having to lay up closer to the water and then play a 3rd shot to the green. Second option, play as far as you can, hopefully clear the bunker. There's a couple little lobes here that are within range there, and also if you can trickle one through the rough on the right side as well. And if you're on the other side of that bunker, you are in range for the green in 2. The other option is you play it, you end up in the bunker, you still lay up, and then you're playing for the green in 3. So really going for it is not a huge penalty. There is a reward if you can land it on some short grass. So I would advocate for going for it every time. The sad thing today is that the wind is in my face. I don't think I have a chance of getting this even close. I could play way out here, but I'm going to have to lay up because I'm still too far from the green. So if you can get a bounce in the rough, it's lucky out here, you might roll up on the fairway. But with the wind in our face today, I think we could even be in the bunker or short of it. There we are, we're in the rough. So if we took a look at our options here, our 3-wood, as you can see, does not make it. So now we're going to have to lay up. Careful on the layup because we are downhill 30 to 40 feet. We do have the wind in our face, so I think we're okay with an 8-iron, and we're just going to lay it up here. Where's the pin at today? Okay, pin is, this makes it a little more interesting. Pin is right side of the green, so we can see our best angle is actually back here. It takes the bunker a little bit out of play, so I am really curious about just laying one up right here. And we're on a really sharp slope. Now that's going to give us a little bit better angle into this green now. So instead of coming across that big bunker, we're coming into the right side of the green. We have, you can see here, very interesting. So by laying up with such a short layup shot to give me the angle, not thinking clear enough, I am now not, I don't have enough distance on my 3-wood to even make it, especially with the wind in my face. So my best hope is we got a little bit of fairway out here on the right side of the green. We also would have had some over here. I could play over here, have a shot long ways into the green, or I can play it in here and still have a shot up on the green. So I think that's my shot is out here. I really don't think I have enough club to get there with the wind in my face. Oh, that was a bad swing. And I got really lucky that that landed short of the bunker. So third shot up now, we're looking at 24 yards. And again, you can see I really like this new splash option. I'm going to throw the splash shot up here. And we're going to be a little bit long, so I'm going to shape this a little bit. See what we can come up with here. Maybe left. This is a very, very large green, so being on the right part of the green really does give you a better shot at a birdie or even eagle if you're coming in at it at 2. I have a 9-footer here. It's going to go left to right. This is for my par. I would blame this on having to putt for par now, on that short layup that I did to get the right angle. So don't do what I did. And here's our first bogey of the day. Number 9 typically plays as a relatively easy hole with a good shot at an eagle, but today with the wind in our face, the hole had a whole different feel. Number 10, starting in the back 9 now, we have a shot from the tee that goes down 30 feet. We have 2 options here. We can play up to this area here, and it'll slope down on the left side, and it'll run down in towards that, sorry, wrong club. Driver shot out to here, and it would roll down in towards the water. The wind is behind us. That water is definitely a risk for the driver. So if you're playing up into that area, you're going to want to be going 3-wood. And you've still got some decent distance into the green. This is a 600-yard hole. If we play it out here 200, even 50 yards, we still got 350 to go. This is not going to be a reachable 5. But if we can get a driver, and we can lay the driver down out in here, then we are now looking at possibly rolling up there downhill, maybe 300 yards. We'd have a 300-yard shot downhill to the green with the wind behind us. So we actually, this hole typically at 600 yards would not be reachable at 2. I do see a little bit of a way it can happen. And I guess that, you see the gap in the trees right there? That is where we're aiming for. Let me just make sure that when that comes down, I'm going to want to aim probably, the wind's going to push this a little bit. So I'm going to play it out here, and we're really going to hope that we're not going to get into trouble into that water. Get through the trees. Well, we did hit the trees. I heard it hit the tree. So we didn't get the distance we wanted. We had 250 yards. Nice thing is the fairway's close enough to that tree that we are still on the fairway. And you can see now that we have a long ways up. If we would have been another 50, 60 yards up, we would have been looking at a possibility of hitting the approach and rolling the ball up under this bowl-shaped green. We're not going to have that option because we hit the tree. But we do have the ability just to lay it up in here. Really, there's no challenge here to be worried about. The bunker is short and the wind's behind us, so it's not going to play today. I'm going to throw it to, left center. The wind should push it back to the right. Unless I hook it like that. I'm going to have a little bit of an awkward stance now, and I'm also not going to be able to see the green because I'm so far to the left. We are playing down 21 feet. Wind is behind us. Everything slopes towards this green. So I'm going to play it back. Oh, I don't know how far to play this back. I'm going to play this back quite a bit. And then I have to compensate for the fact that I am on this slope. This could be a real interesting shot with all the different factors that are in play. Do we have enough club? Okay, so there are a few of these little depressions around this hole that are not filled with sand, but they're enough to kind of throw a ball that's meant to land on the approach and roll up. So here we are with a 4th shot playing in. And I am being punished a little bit for hitting that tree, but that was part of the risk-reward way that this hole is being played today. Chip shot, sand wedge is going to hit the green there and should roll up towards that pin. I think that's the club I want. And I've got a 7-footer. This green is fairly flat. Once you get onto it, it's a bowl shape. It runs down onto the green, and any shot near the green, in fact, will trickle onto the green and have a shot into lucking one out and hitting it from the fairway. So they didn't play out for us that way, but we did manage to salvage our par. Hole number 11 is a reachable par 4. We can see that driver does take us to the green. We can also see that the wind is behind us today. Now this green, you can see the red shading in the green. You can see there are several different parts of this green. There's a high area in the back left, lower on the back right. Same thing on the front, a little more of a slope there. And we do have to climb a little bit of a hill if we're, go down a hill if we're short as well. Just trying to see the best spot here for landing this pin. We do have these rather large rocks. You do not want to hit a rock, because the ball could carry in any direction, and that direction could be in the water. So I'm going to throw it out. I've been pushing the ball a little left today, so I'm going to throw it out right around this side of the green. My goal is for this to land somewhere front left, and then roll up and trickle right towards the pin. I'm really worried we have too much club, and we may end up in the back of the green, but we don't want to be in the water. It's turning right on me. Cleared the rocks, we're running long. So yeah, we had too much club, but the good news is that you can see that slope on the green here, that we are a relatively flat putt now that we're down off that top tier, and we are looking at 52 feet. Looks like it moves maybe a little left to right. I would even argue this is a makeable putt if I would have given it enough strength, but I was a little too short. And that was my eagle putt. So I lagged up to get my birdie, and there we are. Birdie's in place. We're back to -1 today. And here we are on what I would argue is the hardest hole on the golf course. You may wonder what this is. This is the area where you get to drop your ball if you're in the water. The likelihood of being in the water was so high that I had to put something down there to give people a chance at dropping and having some nice grass to make their third shot in if they end up in the water. Today's pin is horrendous. It is tucked in the back kind of left area. You've got a bunker front. You have a long runway green. If you can hit the ball straight, that's good because you can land on the front. But the real trick here, if you take a look, we're going down 85 feet. So you're going to have to make a massive adjustment on your club. I always argue that on this hole, if you're in that bunker, it's a good day. If you're on the green, it's a bonus. If you're in the water, then something didn't go right. So I am going to take a lot off this club. I've got wind behind me today as well. I'm going to give the 5-wood. I'm going to go for the center of the green, maybe right center of that green, because I've been pushing the ball a little left. And really, my dream here is that I am on the green. That's all I'm hoping for. And you can see, I'm not on the green. So, rather interesting here that it's put me back on the tee. I should have had an option to drop the ball. That's a bit of a flaw, I believe, in the game, because I should have had the ability to drop the ball. I have been in the water before on the other side of the green, and I've had the option. But today it's put me right back at the pin, so I guess that's the plan, is we're going to tee this up and try it all over again. Knowing what I know now, I had, I think, probably the right club, I just had the wrong aim. So I'm going to aim this more towards the center. And we're going to pray this is on grass. There we go. So like I said, anywhere on this peninsula is a good shot. On the green is a bonus, and I am now playing for my bogey. And I think that my light rough shot here, chip with an 8-iron, I think this is actually not a bad play. I should be able to get this up and maybe a little bit of elevation. And hopefully get this close. Slow down. So we've pushed it through. I really don't like this distance at all. I'm going to go with a putter. And I'm going to have to probably give this a little extra. Relatively flat putt, but I'm going to use the old Texas wedge out of the rough here and see if I can get this close. Hit it. We did hit it, but we didn't drop. So there we are in the water, and we are now faced with a triple bogey. Like I said, really tough hole. You really need to be on your game for a straight shot and adjusting for the yardage downhill. If you do, you're going to come out with a par, which is a good shot. If not, you're probably looking at double to triple bogey being in that water, especially in that situation where it wanted to drop me a little bit in a strange spot today. So relatively straightforward hole here. We got a par 5. It is playing at 564 yards today, so if we have a little bit of wind behind us, this could be reachable. There is water to the right of the green, so we need to have that in mind. Really, our goal today is to get as far as we can down there without ending up in the bunker. So we'll put the shot out towards the right side, and we're going to let the wind push it to the left. Well, that's going to be in the rough, and will not make it as easy as I'd hoped to get into the green today. So being a par 5, it's giving me a 4-iron out of the light rough. A 3 would put me in the bunker, and as you can tell, if I wouldn't have hit the rough and hit the fairway and rolled a little farther forward, we would have had a shot at the green today, but not going to happen. I could play it out here and let it trickle up and have a shot into the green without going to the bunker, and in fact, I think that's the play today. I'm coming out of the rough with a wood. Not ideal, but my 4-iron is going to put me farther back and not give me the angle into the green that I want. So we're going to play this up a little farther. And right about there. We really don't want to be in the water. We're only going down 11 feet. With the wind pushing us, this still should be a fairly safe shot. So here we are on the approach to the green on the right side, and we have to play this up. Pin is located back left today, and there's a bit of a peninsula up there, so we want to make sure that we're on the peninsula. This shot here that it's suggesting here, the pitch of the sand wedge, would put me hitting the edge of that. And that may actually help take some heat off the ball and slow it down as it rolls up to the pin. So I actually don't mind this shot. I'm going to give this shot a try. I'm relatively flat. Let's see if that can catch the edge of that slope and then slow down and spin up. There we go. I took a little bit too much off the ball, but we'll take it there. And we are looking at now our birdie shot. Not bad seeing we were in the rough beside that bunker for our first shot. And there's a birdie today. That gives us -2 on the day. 14th is a par 3. We have a large tree here, a willow on the right side that protects the right side of the green, but today the pin is on the left. We're down 16 feet, wind right to left. This green slopes sharply left to right. You don't want to be on the right side if the pin's on the left and vice versa. We do have some rough that blends in with a fairly sharp slope on the left side. So today where that pin is, actually a shot right up and around here that would trickle down would probably be a really good shot. Whether or not I can make that shot is another question. But I'm going to play it back a little bit. No, I'm hesitating as I say that. I don't want to be short. I also don't want to be long. So I'm going to play long, but the wind's going to push me to the left. And I'm going to take a little bit off this today. Oh, that's a lot left. I likely would have had too much club even if I had hit the green. So now we're playing let's try playing our splash shot that we like to play here. Splash this up there, and hopefully it just trickles right up towards the hole. There we go. Scrambling in this game is very important. If you can scramble, you can salvage a lot of pars, even on a tougher golf course that has some punitive aspects to it. And the 14th hole is a par 4. Interesting shaped green when we get there. The green is front right today. We don't want to be right, but the way this hole is designed is you want to end up on this little plateau up top. You do not want to end up in the middle of the fairway to the right side. It'll trickle down into that little lobe up there, and you can imagine being over there. The angle into the green is through some trees, so we want to definitely try to keep it on the left side. But with the wind pushing us right to left today, we don't want to be in the bunker either. So I'm going to risk it a little bit. I'm going to throw it out here, let the wind bring it left, and hopefully we end up just right of the bunker, but still in the fairway. Don't want to be too far left. There we go. So now we have a nice angle in, and we have a green that slopes off pretty sharp behind it. but we are looking at 142 yards, and the wind is a little bit right to left. So, and you can see that it's like a cloverleaf shape here. We have a tier on the right side that is elevated, also as well on the left where there's a pin placement, also a front middle pin placement is the other option. And I'll just go to the back of the screen and show you that if the pin placement was back, it's a little devilish. You got to roll it up because if you're long, you're going to roll down into that rough there. So today we want to keep it simple. We're going to put it out here on the right side, let the wind push it left. And I'm also going to take a little bit off this because I seem to have a little bit of heat on the shots today. Even go farther right because I have been really pulling the ball. So I took too much off that, and I did pull it too much left. So that was not so much of a strategy, but about my competency in making some decent shots here. So 8-iron chip shot looks good. We're going to just lay it up there and let it catch a little bit of that slope in front of the green, slow the ball down, and then we should be good for rolling up towards the pin. And we push that a little right, and we actually didn't catch that slope either, so we ended up in a situation where we have a little bit of a tricky putt here now for our par. Still not on the green, and we're going to try to lay this up there. And I think we pushed that shot. We did. So, looking at a bogey on what's usually a pretty routine hole. Wow, I almost pushed that one as well. So that was our bogey for the day. Alright, I guess our second. So we have a par 3 here on the 16th. We're surrounded by bunkers. This green is a little tricky. You got a false front. We have a section at the back that slopes off really sharp left to right. So where the pin is today is really tricky, probably the trickiest pin, because if we don't get up on that plateau, we're going to roll back down somewhere. With the way the slope is, you're almost better off to be on the green and let this run towards the back of the pin, except our winds today are right to left. So, lots to think about here. If I go to a 9-iron, I have too much club. I have 8, I don't have enough club. I'm going to go with the 9, take a little bit off. I'm thinking I'm aiming it for here. My goal is the wind drops it down there. If it doesn't, I end up in this area with an uphill putt coming back up to the green. So 9, oof, that's a lot of club. That's wind in my face. I think I have to be out here and take something off it. And this is just a tricky little shot. Well, we didn't quite get enough clubs, so now we got, instead, a tricky little downhill. We do not want to end up, you can see the plateau there, with it rolling off left and right. We want to stay up on that plateau, but we're going down 6 inches, so a little bit of speed on this. It's going to want to turn left, then it's going to turn right, and it's going to turn left again. So let's go a little right of the hole and hope that it all works out at the end. There's the right, or the left and the right, and now we need to come back to the left, and we'll take that as a leg. And there's our par. Hole number 17. This hole has so many options. Unfortunately today with the wind, it takes almost all the options out of our strategy here. This hole can be played with a ball. You draw it from right to left. You can come up on the approach and trickle it up where that pin placement is today. If the pin would have been center or left, it is a possible shot to land it up on this little approach, and it will actually roll down the approach and funnel onto the green. So this is a par 4, so there are some reachable options. Straight at the pin with the wind behind you can be an option. Today with that wind straight in our face, we unfortunately have very few options. A driver is likely not going to make that little peninsula. It's not going to make this little peninsula on this side. And a driver, all it's going to do is put us in the middle of that sand. So I don't think it's a bad thing. You know, for the most part, playing out of the sand is not a terrible punishment. So I am looking at the bunker in the back center there, and I know it slopes off a lot. I don't want to have that as something I'm shooting towards with a wrist. So I think today's shot, I'm gonna put the ball out towards the left side of the sand. I know the wind's gonna knock it down a little bit, and I'm gonna hopefully have a shot towards the pin without having to face that bunker behind me. So here we are in the sand. The other option is to lay it up a little bit shorter and be on the short stuff coming in, but I kind of thought this is the place. See, what I didn't want is to have that type of shot where the pin was being protected by the bunker behind for shots that are long. I wanted to know that if I misplay this shot, my risk is that I'm just going to be farther away from the hole. My risk isn't going to be ending up down, rolling into the back of the bunker or another tier. In worst case situation, I may end up off into the approach if I don't play this properly. But we got a splash shot. We got a splash shot here that is going to have to run. I'm kind of in between shots on my splash today. So let's see if we have any options on a chip shot. And we don't. We're kind of an awkward distance here. I think we're going to have to play splash shot, and we're really going to have to hope this. You know what? I'm going to play splash shot. I know that there's going to be a little bit coming off, but we're into the wind, and I'm going to put a little bit of juice on this to try to maybe even get this to suck back. Come on, stop. Nope, didn't get anything coming back, but I am still up on that tier. I'm on the green, and I am putting now for my birdie, relatively flat putt. So that's that's a good example of risk reward when you have to sometimes take elements of danger out of the hole. And in this case, I wanted to be on a flat part of the green for my birdie, and I also didn't want to face a terribly high uphill putt or even be in a bunker coming back on the other side of the green. So in this case, that shot wasn't played great, my second shot, but I am now still looking at a 20-footer for my birdie. If I get lucky, and I did get my birdie. So there's an example of how you kind of dissect a hole and try to figure out how you want to play it. This is the final hole, the 18th hole, playing back to the clubhouse. And again, the wind is not in our favor today. The south wind is bad on this course, obviously, because some of the longer holes, it's in your face. We have this little lower area in the landing zone that usually you can drive a ball up into here. It'll trickle up and get you a good roll of 25-30 yards and be close to 300 yards and give you a shot at the green in two. It's only 545 yards, so you can imagine a 300-yard total drive. You can reach this, and it's down 32 feet. But that is not going to be the case today with the wind in our face. With the wind in our face, our goal is to not be in the water, and likely won't even be in the bunker because the wind is in our face. So I think playing just center of the fairway and dealing with what we come up with in our approach shot is going to be where we're at today. Yeah. You can see that sloped area of fairway in front of us there. Normally, without the wind, you'd be able to catch that and roll up much farther than this. So we're still looking at 317 yards. We're not reachable. One thing to watch out for, there is a lot of slope here that pushes balls towards the right, and you could be in the water real easy if you landed a ball right side of this fairway and it kicked even a little bit into the rough, you'd roll down. So you don't want to be there. You want to be high side, left, and either way I think we're going to have to end up contending with that bunker. There's no easy way around it. But I am going to play exceptionally conservative. I'm going to play it almost up towards the rough here, maybe towards the rough. The wind pushes it right. Ball's likely going to land here. It's going to kick down in here. I'm still flirting a little bit with danger with that shot, but I think that's why I'm going to aim even farther to the left, because if the ball ends up in the rough up here, I don't think I've got a bad deal going to the green. I'd prefer to be on the short stuff, but my alternative rolling towards the water is not something I really want to face, so I'm going to play it up to here. We'll see what that generates for us. And I hooked it. But the roll in the fairway protected me, so there we are, playing up to the left side of that fairway was helpful. We just got to hope it stops. There we go. That was close. You can see that slope and how it plays against you. So maybe I would have been better off to lay it up a little farther back where the slope isn't as bad. But instead, we're playing on the rough. We're playing a pitching wedge, a little bit into the wind. I think I'm going to give it a little bit more with the wind coming at us, and I'm going to take a little bit off it. And this green is the largest green on the golf course. You can see it is a lot of different pieces to it. There's a lower front right portion, there's a middle section that's a little bit higher. You've got the highest part of the green is this back left, but it does drop off again to the back right. So there's 4 distinct areas, and obviously 4 different pin placements in each area. And today we're dealing with the highest part of the green, which means that Trickiest to stick it if we do get it on here. Ideally, we're up on this plateau. If we hit it long, we're going to roll back into the back edge of the green. If we're short, we're probably going to run the ball back down to here, maybe even trickle all the way down to here. So long is probably better than short. Left is probably better than right. So if I go back left in this situation, taking all that into account, wind's going to push us a little right. And I'm going to take a little bit off this as well. You can see we're really sloped left to right. We've got to compensate for our stance here with our feet being so much higher than the ball. So I'm going to take it a lot left and hoping that is enough to compensate for this. The natural movement on this ball is going to get pushed to the right with a stance with your feet above the ball. And we will, oh, we almost got to that plateau. Do you see that ball hesitate? It got up there, thought about it, and then came back down. So instead we're now dealing with a uphill putt of 2.5 feet. So the tiers are pretty steep. Ball's going to move generally left or right. And so we're going to see if we can just lag this up there and hope we can get close enough. This is for our birdie. What we're really going for here is par situation, and the wind in our face really did that to us today. And there's our par on the 18th hole. So we came out of this with an even score, which on Storm King is not a bad score at all. We had a +3 there on the 12th hole. If you take that into account, we actually were -3 if I would have played that hole a little bit better. As you can see, you can get into a lot of trouble on Storm King. But if you learn the course, you figure out the riddles that are in each hole, it is possible to shoot a decent round. So thank you very much for joining me on this playthrough of Storm King Golf Resort, and if you like the video, then definitely subscribe. I've got hopefully a tutorial coming out soon on building golf courses with the course designer, and also there's a few other courses that I have played through. So give me a like as well if you enjoyed the video, and until next time, take care and have yourselves a good day.